Hi, thank you for clicking on the video, and I hope everyone is doing really well. So today I am going to be sharing an update with you that I have been putting off for a few weeks. Long story short, I'm a little bit embarrassed. Basically, on November 10th, I relapsed. I'm not happy about this. I am, like I said, embarrassed. I'm ashamed. I'm so angry with myself. Since it has been a few weeks since it happened, I have been able to process, and those negative emotions and feelings have lessened. But just the knowing that it happened, it still sticks with me, especially because I have gone so many years without binging and purging, and for it to happen, and for me to, I hate to use the phrase, lose control, and it happened, just the fact that it happened after so many years of not doing that, it's just frustrating. You get to a point where you're like, yeah, I got this. I went so long without it happening that I almost disregarded the idea that it could happen. And I've definitely had moments of weakness in the past where I have this really strong urge to purge after maybe overeating or eating more than I expected myself to, thinking that I binged and wanting to get rid of it. I've had those moments and I've resisted and I've felt really strong and proud of myself, and then I couldn't stop myself, or I didn't want to stop myself a few weeks ago. And it's really frustrating knowing that this is still a possibility in my life, and I'm not naive. I know that it's always a possibility and it could definitely happen again, and I need to be more vigilant. I need to be much more aware of what is going on in my life, in my head, in my emotions, that could drive me to feel that sort of desperation and hurt myself like that again. Not just physically hurt myself, but emotionally hurt myself, because now my emotions and my self-esteem have taken a beating once again. About a week prior to this happening, I fell into a terrible, terrible low point, to the point I was having thoughts of extremely wanting to end it all. I was in a really dark place, to the point where it was like, the world is better off without me in it. Having those kind of thoughts are really scary, and then to become completely indebted to those emotions and allowing those emotions and thoughts and feelings to dictate how I treat myself and my body with what happened doesn't make the feelings of not wanting to be here lessen, makes them stronger a little bit. So I was definitely struggling with some depression and some mental health issues leading up to that event. And then of course that event did not help with my depression and my low point. In fact, it kind of made it worse, because now I had a reason to hate myself. Before, I just hated myself because my brain was telling me to, and now I had a physical action that I had done that is like, hey, proof you suck. I had been having a lot of cravings around that time, and I was basically saying no, no, no. Not because of any like restrictive behaviors, but because I'm lazy and didn't feel like going to the grocery store for the things that I was craving. So because the things I was craving were not in the house, I was overcompensating with just random stuff I was finding around my kitchen, and just eating crap that just like, it was just random stuff, and it wasn't what I wanted, and so I wasn't really like satisfying that craving because I was just eating random stuff, and then I would binge on random stuff. Because I was so down in the dumps. I wasn't sleeping. I was sleeping probably like a couple of hours a night. My brain wasn't at full functioning level. It was just a really low point. So after a few days of just randomly binging on random stuff in my kitchen, I decided, one, I was gonna stop tracking what I ate. The next time I went to the grocery store for my normal grocery shopping trip, I was going to buy the things I wanted just to have them on hand, so that way I could satisfy those cravings when I had them instead of binging and overeating on just whatever was in the kitchen. So every time I would overeat, I would start to get that voice of, well, tomorrow you're gonna have to fast. And I started to give in to that internal pressure to put off eating for as long as I could. And some of those fasts were ridiculously long. And then of course, that just led to overeating late at night because I hadn't eaten all day. I'm really disappointed. I think disappointment is the worst feeling in the world, and that's really the strongest thing I feel right now. I was embarrassed initially, I was ashamed initially, and I still have little bits and pieces of those emotions floating around inside of me because it would have been roughly 3 years without a binge and purge episode. But of all the emotions, disappointment is definitely the strongest and worst one that I feel, and it's still really, really sitting with me. I know that I need to take it slow and work through my feelings. I need to be more like accepting of the fact that this happens and that it could happen again, and what am I going to do when faced with wanting to do this again if that does happen, and in the event that it does happen again, how am I going to work through those negative emotions in a more positive and healthy way. It's a slow process and there are setbacks, and you have to be accepting of the possibility of setbacks happening and just learning to be okay and process and move forward. And that's really all I can do in this instance. Like I said, it happened on November 10th. I am filming this November 30th, so it has been 20 days. My first initial reaction when anything bad happens is to bury it. And recovery is about pretty much digging up crap and working through it and processing it and seeing how that crap influences your life and influences your food and eating choices and your behaviors in all aspects of your life. While this is not a good thing in any way, shape, or form, I think it's important to look at relapse or setbacks as a necessary evil. Relapse teaches you how to deal with relapse. Like, you would never really know how to handle a setback unless you go through a setback. When you first choose recovery and the first time you mess up, it's obviously the hardest that first time because you're like, I know better. I'm trying to do better. Why can't I just be better? Yeah, setbacks, mess ups, mistakes happen. We're not perfect. Each time it happens, you grow stronger and wiser, and you gain so much more insight into yourself and your abilities. You know you can make it through another one if it happens. If it happens. Not when it happens, if it happens. But you are constantly gaining so much wisdom around recovery and health and just self-care and all those very, very important things. As hard as it is for me to admit that this happened, it's important for me to admit that it happened. Not just to whoever has chosen to click on this video, but to myself. Admit that it happens and hold myself accountable and go through the steps again of how are we going to handle this now and in the event that maybe it happens again. What am I going to do differently? What were the triggers? What were the things that I definitely saw coming and I chose to ignore? How am I going to not ignore those triggers if this happens again? Because I'm going to get depressed again. Like, that's just part of me. I struggle with that. It happens. So how am I going to handle it in a healthier, self-loving way? And that is this video. I feel weird saying if you enjoyed it, but if you got anything out of it, please give this video a thumbs up. If you hated this video, which that's kind of mean, but it's fine if you want to give it a thumbs down. Totally cool. Cool by me, it's fine. I don't mind. If you are not subscribed already, maybe consider subscribing and be sure to hit the notification bell to be notified of all future uploads. If this is the first video of mine you are watching, they are not all like this. I try to make more fun videos around food and recovery. There are two sides to recovery, the fun side and the serious side, and sometimes we have to be serious. So definitely go check out my more fun videos and then be sure to subscribe because why not? If you have any comments, questions, video suggestions, anything at all, feel free to leave that in the comment section below. Be sure to go follow me over on Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye!